Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Shruti Balaji, a first-year doctoral student at the LSE's IR department, and I'm very excited to be virtually presenting my paper with you all today, titled, Can Feminist IR Research Methods Be Reconciled with Quantitative Data? My paper began at the master's level during my Gender and IR course as we were thinking through the dilemmas of feminist epistemology and methodology. While all of my own research was always qualitative, the question that kept bothering me was about why feminist IR scholars continued to be skeptical about engaging with quantitative data, importantly because we still have a plethora of data and statistics relating to gender and women that is available to us. So I decided to do this by engaging in an imminent critique of feminist IR methods and ultimately ask if feminist IR theory can be reconciled with quantitative data and methods. As we know from the seminal work of Ackley, Stern and True's volume on feminist methodologies for IR, attention to methodology has been vital to the development of feminist IR as a diverse, varied and collective inquiry. However, while feminist research methods have been the subject of informal discussions, these have largely remained unpublished. This absence of conversation on methodologies on feminist IR research was the core rationale for my own paper. For the purpose of this paper, I first conceptualize what it means to do feminist research following works of Shulamit Reynolds, Liz Stanley, and Sue Wise, among many others. The paper contends that feminist research can be gauged through three factors. First, the self-identification of research scholars about their own work. Second, the primary intent of the research project in bringing forth voices from the margins that have either been rendered irrelevant and/or invisible. Thirdly, to challenge dominant canons of IR knowledge. The advantages of using self-identification as an important indicator of feminist research is that the researcher herself voices the choice of her research methodology. This prevents us from making assumptions based on overarching definitions of what constitutes feminist research. Secondly, this also may give rise to innovation in feminist methods rather than a strict adherence to one methodological standard and/or binaries of qualitative and quantitative as incommensurable. Following from this, the paper argues that what makes research feminist is the intent of the research project and its contributions to the lived experiences of marginalized sections. And the core ontological and epistemological assumptions of the project relate to the aims of the project and precede the choice of methods. This then informs our choice of tools of research. Therefore, my main argument in this paper is that feminist research need not necessarily be a priori incompatible with any research methodology. Now, in my remaining time, I'll talk a little bit about some of the problems that feminist IR scholars have highlighted with respect to quantitative methods and some ways of overcoming these issues. Ever since the 1960s, there's been increasing evidence in feminist writings in the social sciences that critiques the validity of different forms of knowledge pertaining to traditional quantitative research. The central claim made is that positivist modes of research are often sexist and also conceal women's real experiences. Thus, a lot of alternative modes of research, such as qualitative methods, permit women to express their experience fully and in their own terms. Through this understanding, various qualitative methods, such as oral histories, discourse analysis, qualitative interviews, have become far more common methods of feminist IR research. The main issue for them with quantitative methods is not the statistical techniques used or the quantification, but the ways in which research participants are treated and the care with which researchers attempt to represent the lived experience of research participants. Then, what becomes crucial to feminist research process is the power dynamics between the researcher and researched, which for feminist and positivist research remains objective, detached, and largely hierarchized. However, at this point, it is well worth noting that the conflation of feminist research methods with so-called female methods of research associated largely with qualitative methods are dangerous and entail an essentialist position. There are no innately feminist methods of research, and the uncritical acceptance of either quantitative or qualitative methods are problematic. While qualitative methods are considered best suited for feminist IR research, by denying space for quantitative methods within the framework, an internal hierarchization is created within feminist IR research. Now, keeping in mind the argument from earlier that the goal of the project determines whether research is compatible with feminist principles, which in itself are not homogeneously understood, the paper then makes the case for alliances between quantitative methods and feminist research. Feminist quantitative IR scholars could make powerful contributions to existing knowledge if a feminist vision could be combined with statistical analysis. The paper argues that a feminist consciousness of gender analysis and self-reflexivity can strengthen feminist IR research if combined with quantitative data sets. Feminist scholars have often termed this consciousness in various ways: feminist belief, hermeneutics of suspicion, strategic imprecision, among others. These terms hint at the critical self-reflexive set of research ethics of feminist research. When such a lens is used to analyze data, the resulting analysis could be more rigorous and well-informed. Therefore, what we are rejecting isn't all positivist models merely because they're positivist, regardless of how they're theoretically informed, but rather positivist models that do not draw on the rich variety of theoretical insights of feminist IR scholars. While I don't have time to fully flesh out the empirical example that I use in my paper, what I did use is the UN's Gender and Global Environmental Outlook report of 2016 to show how a combination of gender analysis and statistical analysis can be a powerful means to subvert positivist IR assumptions. The report takes an explicitly social constructivist approach to gender analysis and uses this as the basis to analyze micro and macro level sex disaggregated data. In many ways, this is now being called by scholars as gender statistics. Now, one of Ann Tickner's chief contentions with positivist methods is that past behavioral realities have been publicly constituted in state-generated indicators in biased gendered ways using data that do not adequately reflect the reality of women's experiences and lives and the unequal structures of power within which they are situated. Now, the Gender and Global Environmental Outlook report of the UN methodology counters both parts of these contention that Ann Tickner has. First, by using micro and macro level data and sex disaggregated statistics to shed a light on the lived experiences of women in environmentally vulnerable zones, and secondly, by addressing the unequal impacts of socially constructed gender dimensions of environmental issues through feminist theories and other such critical IR theories. To conclude and reiterate, the paper opens up methodological debates in feminist IR research. It argues against an essentialist position in feminist research and advocates for the interplay of varied methods, as uncritical acceptance of either quantitative or qualitative methods is problematic. However, the paper then argues that quantitative analysis and feminist IR are not mutually or a priori exclusive either. This is because the ontological assumptions of a research project are in line with the primary goals of the research rather than the choice of methods used to conduct the project. This implies that statistical analysis, when combined with a gender-sensitive framework, can be a powerful tool to bring out gender inequalities and subvert the traditional use of positivist data, which is very much available to us. Thank you.